I had to show off my X-Men shirt and my white jeans. I love my white jeans. I have two pair. Love my white jeans. And this song I put together on looplabs.com. I just liked it because it reminded me of the old, was it Genesis X-Men game? I think it was, with Gambit and all those ones. Pretty cool game. I actually thought it was fun if you clip or something, and if you don't remember how it sounded, but for now that'll be the official thing. This is the back of the bin reviews, back of the bin. You saw a little preview of what I was going to talk about this week. We're doing a sort of a boys versus girls review this time. Not exactly going to compare the comics, just found some boy-centric comics and girl-centric comics and put them together. We're going to review them. So, first up is Darkman #1. And of course I paired that with Barb Wire, with the infamous Pamela Anderson. And you would think that, even though we're not comparing the two against each other, you would think that Barb Wire would be the lesser of the comics. At least intellectually. But Darkman wasn't that deep. I think it tried to be heavy on sort of feeling and emotion and whatever, but I just didn't get it. I love the gloss and the art of the books of Darkman. Actually, both of them, but of Darkman especially, the gloss and fucked upness of his face work out. It was very much, I think I did a regular review of the old Beauty and the Beast TV show comic book, and it felt pretty much like that, just a lesser version of it. It didn't look as good as the Beauty and the Beast version, and emotion-wise, I think even dialogue and writing, I think it just fell flat compared. But it's an alright read, and maybe it picks up a bit. This is just issue #1, so it's somewhere to start. But let's see, I don't even know who wrote this. But yeah, possibly promising, just in look wise and regular read. It's alright. It's a regular read, but nothing outstanding, I don't think. Barb Wire, on the other hand, of course you expect utter crap because the movie was, I don't even know if you remember the movie other than TNA, which is all you're supposed to remember, so I guess the mission accomplished. But the funny thing is, a lot of the times I was reading this, I didn't even see Pam Anderson as the character. They did a pretty good job of just making a blonde, big-titted character and it not be Pam Anderson. There's a couple of things she reminded me of She-Hulk, just the way she was proportioned and the way she was fighting. She's actually got some skills, fighting style, fighting ways, and can take a hit. Surprising that way. I won't mention how in both these comics all the gang members and villains are black guys, but whatever. I do love that this guy is he's got the James Brown beads. If you watch Dave Chappelle, you know the James Brown, or Jesus Christ, not James Brown, Rick James beads. See, this is what happens when you drink and review. You forget shit. But yeah, he's got the Rick James beads, and then there's another guy, another black guy that's. I just noticed the super gay pose of Luke there. But anyway, but yeah, but story for this one is number 2 of 4. I think it was a mini actually before the comic started. I'm not sure because they have an ad for the comic, for the official comic in here. So I think it was maybe a mini before the comic started. And again, where she doesn't look like Pam Anderson, is just badass blonde chick. But it's okay. It definitely set you in the world of barbed wire and what the fuck's going on. If you enjoy, like, you know, Escape from New York and the Warriors and those theme gangs, which I have a weakness for. Games with a theme, you can't really, and we're gonna do it that ass. But games with a theme are just always funny and hilarious and fun to deal with. So it definitely sets you in the world of it, and probably good if they made a trade of it, possibly. Otherwise, if you can't get them all, I don't exactly see maybe starting off with that, but definitely can't be disappointing for a bargain bin thing. Next up, we got John Carter. The movie came out. I bought this comic a little bit before the movie came out. Not to be a hipster or anything, but a little bit before. And then Amethyst. If they make a movie of this shit, stop buying comic books. That's just, we won't talk about the comics just yet, but if they start dipping into the Amethyst rather than putting Wasp and Ant-Man in the Avengers, you should probably just stop buying comics just on principle. But John Carter, it's alright. I don't know. It's not exactly space opera. There's some vampire creatures, Batmen is what they call them, which is, I don't know, just not, I don't know, it's alright. It was very long for the story they told. It's basically some Amazon women kidnap him, want to sacrifice him, and then to find out that kidnapping and sacrificing is wrong. You could have done that in a lot less panels. I do like that his bride-to-be is here. She's a bad chick and actually does a couple, fights on her own and actually survives. It definitely, since I just watched Planet Hulk, because I'm not a Hulk fan. I will not apologize for that. I'm not a Hulk fan. So I just watched Planet Hulk. But it definitely reminded me of Planet Hulk and him getting there and finding this warrior princess that could kind of hang with him or whatever. And that's sort of what this is. And of course, this was prior to Planet Hulk, but it just reminded me of that. But all in all, it was really long Star Trek episode where they, oh, we'll treat you like a king before we, have sex with you and then sacrifice you. Like, okay, yeah, we get that. And it happens all the time in sci-fi shit. Let's get it done and over with. But I think the other characters show promise. There's possibilities in it. There's possibilities. I wouldn't say not to pick up any other issues. This annual in particular is not necessary to me. But there could be something else otherwise. Amethyst, now Princess of Gym World. And I know. You hate it already, and you're probably right too, because it's very, again, if we're comparing stuff, it's very Inuyasha and Kagome where she's got to balance the whole, oh, I'm in the modern world, but I go to this other magical place and do all these other things. And it's sort of like that. And this is issue number 5. 5 of 12. Very ragged, if you could see. But that's why it's in the bargain bin. But 5 of 12, and actually, speaking, if this is number 5 of 12, then the story is moving very slowly because she's just now dealing with her parents and the other world and blah, blah, blah. It's sort of a generic, we're going to name characters after gems and stones and all that other, and we'll add some magic stuff in and blah, blah, blah. It might have been different at the time, especially for DC. DC is some stuck-up snobs and like, you know, I'm sure this is not the norm for DC, which is probably good. But I didn't see anything outstanding in this. And especially there seemed to be some talk on the internet about a resurgence of Amethyst, which of course before this I had not heard of Amethyst, but I'm a Marvel guy, so whatever. Art's pretty standard, nothing spectacular again, but nothing off-putting. It just looks nothing exciting either. I think this was the most exciting thing, and that was just an ad. So, we'll see. I gotta love the Dungeons and Dragons ads. So I would probably pass on any more Amethyst, but that's to be expected. Shadow Reavers. Read a little while ago, so I'm still a little lengthy on it, but I love the art, and it's glossy art, and of course Emma Frost-esque character on there. She's running stuff, and it's cool. It's a very mystic, dark world kind of thing, werewolves and vampires and shit. I love that in the book they start off, and I'm going to spoil it because it's been out for a while, so whatever. They start off leading you into thinking that that one character is the lead character, and then that character dies. And then you pick up with a new character, and I think that's good. And that was unexpected, and I liked it, and I'm not surprised by comics a lot. But it wasn't this. And this definitely gives you some action as well as in your story. Little werewolves and shape-changing stuff and some big ass spider and monster. And it's good. I was interested to see where it goes. Of course, again, we were dealing with bargain bin and older, issues, so you got to kind of pick up wherever it left off and see where it went and how long it went. But Shadow Reavers, definitely something to look into if you're into DC's Dark line that's currently going on. I think there's a lot more going on in this, especially in the first issue, than there was in a lot of the other issues that were going on in DC. I'm sorry. That was the girl-centric one, and this is the guy for the boys. If you're not familiar with the boys, I'm not familiar either, but should give you a quick overview of what's going on with the boys. But funny, offensive, nudity, but story, which I like. And I think, and they gave you a lot of different aspects. I'm trying to flip through for different stuff, but there's not a lot of. And actually, that's the thing for a superhero book. There's not actually a lot of action, at least in this issue, which is number 26. There's not exactly a lot of action in this one, but it definitely gives you a look into the characters and the intro into what's going on and the dynamic that's going on with the boys and the different teams and the people who are watching them and all that. It's got me interested to pick up some more. You kind of have to. I think Curtis doesn't like it. I think I'm going to have to quote Curtis or talk about Curtis in every single video because he's my arch nemesis / sounding board. I don't know. I think Curtis. I believe. Don't quote me, but I believe Curtis does not like the boys. And I think, and I can get why he doesn't. I mean, there's not a lot of redeeming qualities to it, but there's a certain entertainment value, and you either have to like it or you don't. I think they could tone it down a bit, and it would be really good. But otherwise, it's very over the top, very trying to be in your face, which can get a bit old and can be a bit tiring and whatever. But I think that, or at least in my stack and what I'm reading, this is a bit more refreshing and different. It's Bendis without the food. Although there's a bit of food in here, but there's at least other stuff. So the boys, I give, the boys is good. I think the boys is good. And we go on to, every time I do Back of the Bin reviews, I have a sort of what the fuck, review of why is that book in there, or why would you buy that. And this week is Rock and Roll Comics and Star Jam Comics, both made by the same people. I think they got sued or some stuff, which they actually talk about a little bit in the beginning, but it's reading, so why would I do that? They actually talks about it a little bit, how people don't like that they're publishing unauthorized biographies of, superstars, quote unquote, because Vanilla Ice is in this, so we'll put the quote unquote superstars in there. And I actually found the Vanilla Ice one more entertaining. It's just black and white, standard, old timey. I don't know what's up with that stuff on Vanilla Ice right there. I don't know if that was a particular thing he was trying to do at the time. But it's just your standard black and white comic with some info about how they got into the biz and some insider info. It can be very funny. The Vanilla Ice one is very funny because, of course, they're trying to tell the story of how he came up and make fun of him at the same time, which is always good because Vanilla Ice just needs a hug, a hit song, I guess, but funny to read. Janet Jackson, I think if you talk about the Jacksons and don't talk about Joe that much, it's not going to be as good. But I mean, they covered Joe a little bit, and like her marriage to the guy from DeBarge and a couple other things. It's weird because I talked about Pamela Anderson looking a bit like She-Hulk, but much of this comic, Janet Jackson actually looked like She-Hulk. I don't know. I guess it's the black and white aspect does not help. Does not help the books for colored folks. Because for a while I couldn't really tell. Yeah, there you see Joe Jackson. You can tell it's Joe Jackson because it's the afro. But it's hard to tell any other time with Janet because that's a strong ass chin for Janet there. So I think they struggling on how to make black people look black in black and white, which is odd, but definitely some funny stuff if you can pick up if you pick up some odd stuff like Vanilla Ice, but if you pick up the ones about actual artists, it's not as interesting. A little bit, especially, I don't know, maybe I'm a little more familiar with Janet Jackson than I am with Vanilla Ice. So stuff was more interesting and funnier in Vanilla Ice, but So quick, we'll do the as usual, because in the usual reviews I do the dig for it, liquid courage, dig for it, sift for it, and bury it. And of course, dig means to go and look for it in your bin. Then sift means to pick up particular issues, and bury it means to not buy it at all, or if you find it, put it in the back of the bin. Darkman, I'm going to say sift. It looks like it could be okay, but sift. Barbed wire, sift. If you can find it in a trade, I don't know how hard that's going to be. It's got to be pretty hard. Got to be pretty hard. But if you can find a trade of it, sift for it and buy it. But John Carter, sift. Amethyst, I'm going to say bury. I'm going to say bury. I'm going to say bury. I know, but I'm going to say bury. I don't think it is as refreshing as it could be. I don't think it's going to be that entertaining in the long run. Shadow Reavers, I'm going to say buy. And dig for it. Dig for it, dig for it. If you can find it, dig for it. If you can find a trade, dig for it. Buy it. Shadow Reavers seems definitely worth it. The boys, it's dirty fun, offensive, dig for it. We'll put these together even though they're different titles, but they're the same people. Star Jam Comics and Rock and Roll Comics. Of course, Rock and Roll Comics with Vanilla Ice. Hilarious. I love that he's rock and roll. But sift. Definitely sift. There's going to be some that are going to be hilarious that you're going to want to buy, like Vanilla Ice. And then there's some that are just going to be semi-interesting or whatever, but not that big a deal. And you can pass up. So that'll be it for this week's Back of the Bin reviews. We'll see you next week, and we'll see, and I'll probably get the second half of my Nerd Room video done, and we'll see you then. Brandy and Coke, by the way. Says life's a bitch. In case you didn't catch the short the first time.